about this time, Sheree Clark joins us from Fork in the Road, and we've been shifting gears a lot here with what you've brought in, which is really cool. But one of the things that seems to be going on for a long time, a lot of people talking about being gluten-free,
yes,
and having substitutes for wheat and even grain, which some people use grain to replace the wheat at times. But it sounds like you found something that you can replace wheat and grain with that you might not believe, and we're talking a lot of things, right?
Well, and not just wheat and grain, but also a lot of people are on low-carb diets,
okay,
and so they don't want starches, they don't eat potatoes and those kinds of things. So what I brought today is like the stand-in of all stand-ins, and the stand-in is cauliflower. It takes the place of a million things. It's amazing.
And people might hear this for the first time going, sure, right.
Right. People use it for pizza crust. They make pizza crust with cauliflower.
No,
yes, they
sure do.
And it's delicious.
It's on the World Wide Web, Blue. I saw it there.
Oh, if it's on the internet, so it's got to be good. Yeah.
And that would be, most of the time, that's a cooked option. You can do a raw pizza crust too. It's a little bit more involved. But what I brought you today was, remember, this is vegetarian, actually vegan, gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, raw, all good for you, all tasty, and all using cauliflower as a base. So
everything we're going to consume is cauliflower.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Except for the portobello mushroom, which I put on there as a garnish because I thought it would be a nice little touch. So
okay, that looks nice.
Everything else is there.
Okay.
So this is cauliflower. Did you put it in the blender, or did you food processor?
I used the food processor. Now, what I wanted to do was share with you that what that becomes is we do a technique called ricing, which is just a fancy way of saying shred it up.
Shred it. Okay.
So this is what cauliflower looks like when it is just by itself. You just put it through the food processor.
This is before you dry it or after you dry it?
That's not actually dried.
This is not dried. I haven't tried it yet. Okay.
This is just fresh cauliflower that I took through the food processor. You can use the shredding blade or you can use the S blade. Either one will work. In this case, I use the shredding blade because it's easier to clean, and I was just using it. So I shredded it. Then now that I've got it, it becomes like the rice, which I can use to make sushi instead of rice. So there's,
okay,
which is lovely. It works for that. And then what I did was I made a quick little sauce, and your sauce has very simple ingredients. It's got curry powder, which you can tell
because
it's
curry.
It does have curry powder.
Because it's orange, so you can tell. A little bit of olive oil and a little bit of maple syrup to help balance the bite from the curry. But I know you like spicy foods, so it's got a little bit of a spice to it.
Is there onion in here on some level, or does curry have a little onion flavor?
I put in some sliced scallion.
Okay,
just to give it. I wanted some color, so there's some peas and some sliced scallion in there to just give it some little taste. It's very flavorful. The thing to remember is something like rice is really a carrier for other flavors. I mean, a bowl of rice by itself, without butter, without salt, is really quite bland. So we use it as a base. It's the base for our Chinese food and what have you.
No, this reminds me of, no offense here, but ramen. It has
that's fine.
No,
if you like the taste of it.
If you like the taste of ramen, that's what it reminds me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crunchy though.
It's got a crunch to it, which I like, which gives us some nice satisfaction. The other thing that you can do with it, if you choose that, if rice isn't your thing and you want to do mashed potatoes, or we call them no potatoes, all you would do is you'd use the same technique. You'd add a little bit of oil, and then what I do is I add some macadamia nuts into the mix. The macadamias get pureed. It gives it some extra body, and it ends up being quite fluffy and beautiful. So I'll make you that for you another time.
Right.
Yeah, it's really good.
The cauliflower steak, is that balsamic vinegar on there?
No, actually, there's no balsamic. There's some soy sauce.
Okay.
And olive oil once again, and then some agave to give it a sweet balance.
This is one of the first things you ever made us on the show.
Yes.
And I remember liking it a lot.
Did you bake it? Did you put it on your stovetop? How did you prepare it?
She doesn't bake anything.
I don't cook.
She doesn't bake anything.
I put it in the dehydrator. And here's the fun thing. All of this was a very simple meal to put together, but it looks beautiful, and it looks like I went to a lot of trouble. Last night I marinated the ingredients. I marinated the cauliflower steaks. I made up the sauce that goes onto the the couscous kind of a consistency, right?
That's another good comparison, Yes.
Made that before bed. When I got up this morning at 4 to go to yoga, I stuck it in the dehydrator, and then I grabbed it before I came down here to the station. So it dehydrated for 4 hours, that's all.
This is delicious.
Curry's
not my jam, but that's just a personal thing, any curry, but this, This is good. Okay, so why don't you don't use an oven or skillet ever, or crock pot?
I don't.
Is that just a personal thing, or is it nutrition, or?
It's a way of eating. I'm a vegan, and most people understand that. I'm also a raw foodist. And
All right.
raw people don't eat raw people. Don't
Soylent Green is people.
don't cook food to more than 105 degrees in order to preserve the nutrients, vitamins,
I didn't know that was the
enzymes.
cutoff, 105? Mm-hmm.
That's my cutoff. Some people go up to 115. I'm conservative.
I go up to about 145 on the grill, and that's about it.
You might go to 2 something on the grill. But I also brought along a resource because I know that sometimes when we talk about vegetables, and viewers will contact me after the show and they'll ask me some questions, and I know that they're kind of like embarrassed about it, which they shouldn't be, because we all have to learn at some point. I have this book that I found, the Fresh Produce Guide, which I really, really like. And anything like this that you can have on your shelf that becomes a resource. This one I marked the page for cauliflower because that's what we are talking about today. And what it does, and I don't know how close we're able to get on it, but it gives the nutritional value of the cauliflower, of the.
Oh, I like the pages. The pages have a coating on them too.
Yes, they do.
It's
So
not
that
gonna
when your marinade gets on there, it's all good. And it tells nutritional value. It tells a little bit about it, maybe where it's from, and it gives you some tips. Like it'll tell you what things pair nicely with it. And I really like that because I really think it's important for people to feel a level of confidence. There was really the degree of difficulty in this dish, in this entire presentation, was really, really low.
Yeah, but it looks really.
It is pretty on the plate too. Yeah.
It is good.
But this is, I'm just amazed that this is cauliflower run through your processor.
Yep.
And then you put a little curry on there, and what else?
And a little olive oil and a little bit of maple syrup to sweeten up because the curry is quite warm.
That is really
but you
good.
can also find curries that are milder. I like a spicy hot curry.
That is really good. And for more information on how to do all this, I would go to guess that it's on your website.
You cleaned your plate,
It's
Jason.
definitely
I'm
on
in the
my
Clean Plate
website.
Club.
Awesome, yay. Go to www.fork-road.com. Also drop me an email if you'd like. A lot of people do that after the show, ask for the recipes specifically or ask individual questions, and I'm happy to answer those.
All right, so when are we going to have the show back on?
We're working on that, working hard.
All right, looking forward to it. Well, thank you for all this. This is really good. This is, honestly, folks, seriously, this is